Hello everybody, first of all I'd like to say thanks to Ring of Honor Wrestling for following me on Twitter, and you can too, at Laugh or Cry TV, so thanks Ring of Honor Wrestling. And second thing I'd like to say is that I was in town the other day and I saw an elderly man with a walking stick and a hat, and he was wearing tweed, one of them, and he did a fart and then he sneezed a second later, and I thought if that sneeze had been a second earlier he'd have done a backflip. That actually happened as well. Right, unfortunately, okay, after last week's really good start to the documentary, because I felt like it was a good start, and loads of the Rabid fan base did too, because they emailed me and let me know, thank you. Unfortunately, my editing system has been shut at the wall and can't be used until it's repaired, so I've got two options, alright. First of all, I could not upload a show this week, or I could do this, which is recording just one unedited file on my camera and uploading that. So I've chosen to do that, but it's a real shame because it's like the documentary got off to a really good start and it was going to be, you know, really well edited, and can't do that now. So unfortunately it's a little bit of a break until the things get mended, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. But until then, it might not be such a bad thing to just have this speaking piece, because actually I can clarify a few things. There's been some questions sent to me, so I'm going to do like a question and answer session and just clarify some other things. Like, I think some of the Rabid fan base thought, from what I've said over the last few shows, that this documentary in season 4 that's going to tell the whole story of Laugh or Cry TV is actually just going to be me repeating footage from the past shows that you've already seen, and it's not. I want to clarify that that's not actually the case. I'm not going to be repeating anything. I'm not just presenting it to you again in order or something like that. It's new footage and it's new stories and it's a new documentary. So season 4 is its own thing. Alright, I might, if I say something like, oh, and then that day we did the bridge dump, or that day we did the visiting the depressed gun maniac, I might like overlay footage of that, but I'm not just repeating stuff from the other seasons. So I'm glad that I can. Might not be such a bad thing, because I'll be able to answer these questions and clarify some things. And it's not that bad just speaking to the camera, because obviously that's what most other people do online anyway. It's just I don't like to do it. I like to edit things properly. I would just dread, there's nothing wrong with it, but I would dread to think if this is like the first time you've seen Laugh or Cry TV, please go and watch another one and then come back to this. Now, I'm going to have to work on my intonation, okay? That being the raising and lowering of your voice to make it more interesting, rather than just going in the same, you know, pitch or anything. That's what they tell you to do in job interviews. You have to do intonation, lower your voice, raise your voice, make it like this, and then go, oh, and actually to keep the interviewer interested, okay? Otherwise they'd say, no, your intonation's no good, okay? You were boring me with this monotone thing. Get out of my job, get out of my workplace, alright? You've got no good intonation, you're not going to be a shelf stacker, get out of my job. You're not lowering and raising your voice enough. Go, okay? That would be what would happen in a job interview if you didn't have intonation, alright? So, I haven't gone mad, by the way. I'm just going for my notes here. I haven't gone mad, it's still up there, alright? Still up there, as the actress said to the bishop. Right, I'm going for my notes here, and it is a shame that this has happened, because this was the only season really to have a narrative anyway, and now it's been stopped in the second show of season 4. The other ones sort of had narratives, like season 1 was me doing funny things without really thinking through the feelings of people, like I was just having fun, things like that. Season 2 was trying to publicise it. Season 3 was looking at the fallout and the family reactions of like how sometimes you can get a headline and it can help you, but it's at the expense of loved ones' feelings. Something that an unseen side of show business, okay? Season 4 is going to be this whole story. Then the plan is for season 5 to be my wrestling matches, and then by the time I'm back in shape and doing it again, season 6 will be a documentary in real time, or like a fly on the wall thing in real time. So I'll be having a match that week, I'd show it that week with all the bits and bobs travelling around it. That's the plan, okay? Until then, we've got this here. I will be doing this show now. I will be trying to act naturally, obviously. Which is like, because whenever I film people they go, oh, do you want me to act naturally? Well no, act unnaturally. Start walking on the ceilings and wearing polo shirts. Alright, madness. my training's been going well as well. Actually, my weight training has been going well. When I was doing weights earlier the other day, my dad came to me and was messing around, pulling silly faces to try and put me off. I look forward to doing the same in your office, Dad, Monday morning. No. So, I'm working off my notes here. I've always got this to-do pile. Actually, a picture of a wizard there's my notes there, but then in here, but picture of a wizard, because Tina says that she imagines my head to be full of these types of wizards in wooden rooms, making notes, just scribbling frantically on loads of scrolls everywhere. She specifically said they do have a system, but it's just loads, there's just so much work to be done, okay? And that is the illustrative depiction of it. No? That particular one is working on the copyright infringement lawsuit we will no doubt be getting from me showing that animation to you. Right, the question and answer session, okay? I have a new, from show 74, it seemed like it was, I mentioned Joyce, my agent, right, and it seemed like that she'd just come on board, which is how I presented it, but she's actually been with me for 6 months. She's leaving because I'm getting a new one, Marcus Smart, who's going to be helping because he's more wrestling based, because I'm obviously getting back into wrestling. So Marcus Smart, Mark as he likes to be known, he is coming along, and he rummaged through Joyce's inbox, not in that way, and gave me some questions that the rabid fan base have sent me. The first of which was, it sounds like you will be repeating old content in context and order, which I've hopefully clarified is not the case. I'm not going to be repeating anything, okay? Right, why have you revamped the site? Well, I liked the design before and everything, but it was almost too colourful. There was too much coming at you, so now the colour scheme is good, just green, black, white, and it also represents, obviously, me, you know, getting back into wrestling and going away from how I was pushing it before. I was pushing it as like random madness and comedy or whatever. Now it is the adventures in and out the ring of me, okay? So I revamped the site just to reflect that, and that was why. Okay, you've showed some clips of you wrestling. I want you to show more, so I'm pleased you're focusing on it now, but is the funny stuff going to stop? It's not going to stop, because it's actually my sense of humour. It's just that the focus is more on wrestling. So all that I still film all the madness stuff on the street. It's just, like, for instance, in the past there'll have been 5 bits on the street or 5 family bits. In the future, when it gets going, maybe there'll be like me travelling to a match, some madness that's happened on the road trip, the match, the interview itself, my thoughts after the match, and then some madness on the street or something like that. So the funny stuff isn't going to stop, because it's my sense of humour, so no. And actually, when travelling with wrestlers, there's always, you don't even need to plan anything, stuff will just happen mad anyway, and the unplanned stuff is always the best stuff, so there'll be plenty of raw material to work with. Okay? I've got loads of silly stuff anyway that I haven't aired yet, so there's plenty to go. Even if I was to stop filming it now, which I'm not, there would still be loads of old stuff from the past to carry on showing, so the silly stuff won't stop. Okay, right. And also, before I go on to the next question, it's going to take about a year to get to the point where I am doing matches and showing them anyway, because I'm not in shape yet, so, but I'll explain that a bit more later on. Yeah, are you physically alright to do it? Because I've mentioned before that I've had a hurt neck. No, because I'm alright, because I've had an MRI, cost about nearly $1,000. I'm physiotherapy, so I'm good to go. Saying, are you going to go back to live with Jake in America? Yes, I am. We actually miss him so much that the plan would be to do that anyway, like even if I wasn't doing wrestling, but since my plan is to do wrestling, that's the most obvious plan. So yeah, there are reasons why we haven't gone back to live with him yet, but none of those reasons are because we didn't want to. There's just loads of other things. Happenstance, I think is the right word for that. Not sure though. And someone just asking, they sort of say like, what's my opinion of Jake? But he's the greatest ever. He's done so much. He's so integral to like wrestling history. He's helped so many people. When I was a kid, and still, but like if you'd have asked me when I was a kid, like before I met him, if you just said what's your top 10 like wrestling matches, wrestling storylines, half of them involved him, and the other half, I found out later, amazing but true, they were written by him, or like he contributed to them. Every single one of those 10. Amazing. So he's literally the best, and he's the best teacher ever, and we miss him loads and can't wait to go back. This one, I'm just laughing because I get it quite a lot. They said like, what's Tina's, the general is that what's Tina's opinion, or what does Tina say now that you're going back to do wrestling? And they always ask it as if it's like she's an observer to my life, which isn't just our life. So she's obviously, we've discussed it, that's always been the plan, and she's happy with what makes me happy. It's what I've trained in, it's my career, so it's fine. And I think the people, the fans that then come back and say, oh, but won't she leave you if you like go travelling or something, I think they're the ones that can't relate to having a partner that's as perfect for them as she is for me and I am for her. And that's not something I can really help with, but what did she say when I said I was going back to wrestling? She's almost relieved because she knows I'm good at doing it and I should capitalise on that. She thought I was nuts to stop. But part of the reason why I stopped is because I wanted to spend time with her anyway, because that's when I'm the happiest. But I'm also happy doing a job that I love, so. I heard that wrestler David Paris does high-tech expensive workouts like Ivan Drago, whatever, from Rocky 4, while you run up hills and use dumbbells like Rocky, and he said you had a bushy beard. Yeah, he should see my pubes. I'm not actually against gym workouts, by the way, because I did a workout page on my website of my workout, and I was saying like, oh, do it without dumbbells, don't let them fool you, you don't need to fall for the latest weight loss supplement. And I was just talking about ridiculous weight loss supplements, because if you notice, the diet industry, they're always pushing the latest stupid weight loss supplement. It's because they don't want to lose a customer. If you get in shape, they've lost you. But nothing beats hard work. I was just making that point. But actually, like, even though I personally do it with just dumbbells, and that's how I've lost weight, like got into really good shape in 4 months in the past, because I've been like really thin, really muscular, really fat, really muscular, really fat, really muscular, and now really fat again, and I'm going to be muscular again. Fingers crossed. And the point I was making was, I'm not against expensive gym memberships, I'm just saying I'm anti-excuses. You can do it at home without supplements, without dumbbells and all that lot. So if there's someone who says they can't afford the gym, there is no excuse. That's the point I was making. I heard David Paris also said you should come along to see him wrestle, to see how the pros do it. Yeah, he did say that. He must be getting into comedy with such a farcical statement. But as far as wrestling and comedy, a novel idea, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt that doesn't fit me anymore. Because of muscles, obviously. Right. What's your favourite colour? Madness. Sorry, I'm very grateful for the questions. I just wasn't expecting that. What's your favourite colour? My favourite colour is green. Thank you. Absolutely. But I'm not. No, I just didn't expect. I was worried now that I was coming across as ungrateful. I'm really grateful that people would send questions, but I just didn't expect something. Oh, pass me a shovel, please, Tina, so I can dig this hole deeper that I'm digging for myself. No. Then I've got out of it with a bit of humorous, hopefully endearing, humorous joke. Got out of the trouble, such is the world. Next question. When will there be wrestling matches in the show? That's actually a more friendlier version of another question, such as, this is supposed to be a wrestling show, where are the wrestling matches? Well, it's not actually supposed to be my adventures in and out the ring, and there have been clips of my wrestling matches actually, but if everything goes according to plan, as I've touched upon, the full revamp will take about a year to pull off, alright? Because right now, season 4 started last week with show 76, alright? This is show 77, okay? Let's just assume that my editing gear is up and ready for next week, okay? Season 4 is the documentary, about the whole story, okay? Then I'll show my old wrestling matches in season 5. Season 6 will come around, which will be season 5 will start with show 101, so season 6 will start with show 126. That will be following me in real time, is the plan. But to answer the actual question, wrestling matches will probably be around in show 101, is the plan, but sometimes things change, but not long. But there are clips of matches anyway. Show 61, 68, 63, 64 are quite wrestling heavy, and show 75 and 76 as well, so far. Okay? Right. The thing is though, the advantage I have is that everyone now, with like the social networking, everyone films themselves and blogs and stuff, but like I've got all footage from the past is my advantage that I have, so I can tell the whole story. Right. Alright, this question is implying, they're saying am I a face or a heel? In wrestling terminology, face is someone who is cheered, heel is someone who is booed. And actually, most of the time I am a heel, and they're implying that they got that without seeing one of my matches, and I'm really pleased because the small amount of footage that's already shown has just really shown my body language and facial expressions, and so I'm really pleased if I came across as a heel from that, so that's really good. Yes. How do the funny videos fit in with your wrestling character? Well, I used to think that there was a clash there, actually. It's a good question. It's actually a lot contributes to my indecision of when I was like, should I do comedy videos, should I do wrestling? But I've come to realise that they're not really that contradictory. There isn't really much of a clash. It's not that they fit in so much with each other, but it's not that there's a clash either. When I wrestle, I've never tried to be a character, rather I've just wrestled and seen what comes out, and there's a certain side of me that comes out, and that's what I would then note, and then I play on that or exaggerate it for my character, right? And the silly, humorous side of me hasn't come out in a wrestling match, so I haven't played upon it. But I'm multifaceted. I am multifaceted. I'm not one-dimensional, so there are different sides of me. So I think it's okay to show that, so you can see me in real life, messing around on the street, doing stunts and jokes or whatever, and I don't think that takes away from the wrestling matches and how I act there, or vice versa. So it's difficult to answer, but it's like that I put over 10 years into doing wrestling already, and 10 years as well, longer really, into making the funny videos, and they like run in parallel to each other, and I used to think I had to choose, but now I'm doing both, so I'm happier. I always thought that they were like mutually exclusive. I just feel the best way is to showcase the whole lot of me, and the best way to do that is to do this web show which shows, you know, in and outside the ring. Okay. Do you prefer long or short answers? I think I prefer short answers to questions, because obviously you can, you know, I think I prefer short answers to questions because with short answers you can get to the point, you end up not rambling, you don't have to work on your intonation so much, it's quite listener or viewer friendly. I think that it's best to obviously answer quite short and snappy when you're answering questions, because otherwise people might get bored. Sometimes you might end up repeating yourself, sometimes they might get bored, and sometimes I think that when you answer with long answers, it actually sometimes shows that you don't quite know how to answer the question, and kind of shows you up in that way. And I think that short answers are best when answering questions, because it means that you obviously don't have to think too much about it, and you know the answer. It's like, what is the answer? This is it. And it's quite very clear and decisive. It's quite authoritative in that way. I just think that the best answers are the shortest ones, rather than long rambling ones where you can see that the person has lost their way and you don't quite know where they're going with it, and you can tell that they don't know where they're going with it, and there's no stuttering or pausing or going and things like that. And it's better if you're being interviewed because you can just keep up a rapport with the interviewer rather than having to kind of speed you up or anything like that. So I might take a different view actually. Let me read the question again. Do you prefer long or short answers? Long. Right. Back to the notes. The University of Life. I'm just going to give some people some tips here. This is what I've learnt from living, okay? This is my Matt Skills University of Life. This is what I've learnt. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Children always repeat what they hear inside the home, outside of it. A stitch in time saves 9. Quit while you're ahead. Remember the 5th of November. Look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. It's a small world. Time and tide waits for no man. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Children always repeat what they hear inside the home, outside of it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Lift with your legs, not your back. It takes 2 to tango. A camel is a horse designed by committee. Patience is a virtue. Too many cocks spoil the froth. Can't put an old head on young shoulders. There's some things that I need to ask my dad because I don't quite know what they mean. I need to say, Dad, what's a party animal? I need to ask what a party animal is, and I need to ask him what a ladies' man is. But I'm sure that could help towards the University of Life. And the final tip is, if your sex life needs spicing up, okay, you just need to shout, "Ride that cock to Banbury Cross, you dozy fucking slut." Okay, that's just some tips from the University of Life. Yeah. These notes are a bit all over the place, to be honest. There's a friend that came round, he noticed on my calendar I'd actually put in a day on the calendar, actually given a date to it. Tell Jimmy he's a prick. Someone who I've worked with that hadn't replied or something, probably. I can't remember. Right. There are some things while making this documentary, right, that actually, while making it, the stories, they're not even stories, they're like anecdotes. They don't fit in with the narrative of the documentary. Okay, that's why it's really annoying as well that this editing gear has gone mad, because this was the season was going to have a narrative. It's very together and everything like that, so it sucks. But nevertheless, in this documentary there are some stories that wouldn't fit in, so I might as well just say them now for what it's worth. Some madness to something that happened to me that I thought was absolutely insane. My dad said, "Do you want a cup of tea?" This was fairly recently. He said, "Do you want a cup of tea, Edward?" I said, "Oh yeah." And he said, "Well, don't just say yes, do you or not?" Can you make sense of that? Absolute sheer madness. Similarly, sticking with the subject of my dad, there's a Nigerian family that have moved in across the road from him, and he said, no one was asking, but he said, "Oh, I don't know if they've moved here from Nigeria. I don't know if they've moved here straight from Nigeria. I don't know if, they had family over here and then they've come to visit them and now decided to live here. I don't know if they've always lived here and they've just moved to our street. I don't know if they're living here temporarily, then they're going to go back. I don't know if they even have any contact with their family over in Nigeria. I don't know whether or not they're here to stay. I don't know whether or not they're here. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know." No one was asking. Absolute sheer madness. Something in Time that I saw which really made me laugh, because it was again an elderly couple. I always think it's funny if they're elderly, because it's like a lot of the things that they say are out of context. A man and a woman, a couple, and the woman was eating KFC, but she came across a bin and threw half of it in the bin, right? Threw half of it away, what she was eating. And the man said, what are you doing? Why are you throwing that away? And she said, well, I'm not that hungry because I had breakfast. And he said, well, I told you we were having a KFC, you stupid fucking bitch. And it was just the most bizarre thing to see. Walking in, actually the same street actually, I was talking to my friend and I said, I was like speaking and I was like stuttering a bit and I said, oh, because, like speaking to him, I was saying, oh, because, and these kids walked past me and said, because you're gay, in my face. And because it was kids, I can't really say anything back to kids. Like, you know, when you're in the, this is all true stuff, it's not like jokes I've come out with. I was in the toilet and you know, like when you're in the cubicle, it's a bit like you can't relax or anything and you really don't want somebody outside the cubicle waiting for you to finish. Two kids came in, I could hear them, they were obviously kids. And I was in there, like, on the toilet, shitting or whatever, and the one said, oh, there's someone in there, let's see how long he takes to come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and started counting, really hellish. For those of you who read my blog, which I update quite regularly, you'll know about people who I've deemed the ne'er-do-wells. My neighbours, that are really atrocious neighbours, that have now moved out for quite a while now, and one of them said, like things that weren't true and accused us of stuff. Their daughter, who was just like a 19-year-old girl, punched me in the face. We didn't do anything wrong. For fuck's sake. Hello? Yeah, I'm just filming at the moment. Yeah, I know. Okay, this is boring for the viewers, Tina, for the rabid fan base. This is boring for the rabid fan base. Okay, bye-bye. Hello. Just in front of me, look, this candle that my sister made is amazing. She carved in my dad, mum. Sorry, that's me actually. Tina, and my mum and her. It's just that I couldn't see because the light was shining on it. It's not that it's no good. Yeah, so the ne'er-do-wells, okay, the ne'er-do-wells, they're really rough people basically. And one of them punched me in the face, and we didn't do anything wrong. And I saw them in town the other day, and they just said, oh, hiya, alright, as if nothing had happened. Like, as if there'd been no history. Can't believe people. I couldn't decide whether to call them the ne'er-do-wells, the Jeremy Kyle guests, or the fucking cunts. I was undecided. Right. Absolute madness, yeah. You can see how this doesn't fit in with the narrative. In McDonald's, I ordered a burger, right, and I don't like mayonnaise. So I said, oh, can I have no mayonnaise on it, please? They didn't understand what I was on about. As you can imagine, it's really impossible to make an order that's just straightforward. So if you don't want a straightforward order, it is next to impossible. And I said, oh, can I have it, you know, without mayonnaise? And they said, oh, you mean plain? And I said, well, alright then. And they said, oh, I'll just go and get someone to take your order. Madness. The other person came back. I said, oh, hi, can I have a chicken sandwich, plain, please? And they said, what do you mean plain? Do you mean nothing in it? And I said, well, if you like, yeah. Nothing in it. I said, well, you know what I mean. And they gave me just the bun at full price with nothing in it, literally. No burger, no chicken sandwich, nothing. Just the bun. Incompetent. Absolute sheer madness. But it's funny now. Right. I do apologise. I don't have any edit gear. I do apologise for it being, I know everyone else does it, but it doesn't make it right. The just speaking to camera and things like that. What I'll do in a minute is, I'm actually in my parents' house at the moment because we're going to, we're getting ready to go on a trip to London, to Camden, because I'm filming for the show and doing some other bits and bobs around there. And so I'm in my parents' house, and I haven't lived here for a decade, but I'll take you up to my room in a minute, although because they're asleep, because it's the middle of the night, I have to be quiet, but I'll just show you what the room looks like now. If you've not seen my $20,000 wrestling collection, go to show 61 and 68 to see it. In show 61 it's about 17 minutes in, and it required a lot of upkeep. Because before I had these to-do lists, like for my work, I used to have to-do lists. My life was basically keeping that bedroom up when I was like a young teenager, and the to-do lists used to be, you know, repair this because things were always falling down and things like that. And there's been so much erosion because I haven't lived here for 10 years. I don't think the room will ever be repaired to what it was. It's just completely like a bomb's hitting now. So I'll take you up to see it now. But if this is your first look at it, go and look at what it was like. To the Power Slam and Fighting Spirit magazine said that they were like impressed with it. It was a really massive collection, but they saw the pictures of how it was. I'll just be quiet when I go up there and take you up there because my parents are asleep, and because I haven't lived here for 10 years, this is what it looks like now. It's a real shame actually. I don't think it will ever be repaired to what it was. It will most likely just be cleaned up, and it'll never look the same. But first of all, I will just take you to my Twitter page, because I actually have a picture of what the room used to be like on my Twitter page, and I changed my profile as well. It's actually just a website. So my Twitter is Matt Skills Wrestler. It's at LaughableCryTV. Live on planet Earth, of course. Mentored by Jake Roberts. Owns $20,000 WWE merchandise, which is quite topical. Mastered every leg hold ever. Star of LaughableCryTV. Your ringside seat to my adventures in and out the ring. And the picture of the background, which you can sort of see is there, is that. That's what it used to look like. That's just one aspect of the room. As I said, I'm not going to talk when I go up there because they're asleep, but I'll just show you what it looks like now. So, as you can see, loads of things have fallen down from it. And it's nowhere near as it was. There's loads of things that have come down. So it's like a massive shame. That big army of figures is nowhere near what it was. They're all still there, they've just fallen off over the years. And there's also been other things that have invaded the room, such as this Spice Girls flask, which has nothing to do with wrestling, and vacuum heads, things that appear in your room after you move out, because I haven't lived here for a decade. This guitar I actually made to take to when I saw Jeff Jarrett live for the WWA show. Bit of advice, don't actually make that and then take it round with you all day in London, because that is absolutely hellish. That's my wrestling gear over there actually. So I'm going to be ending this show very shortly, and just show you some of the wrestling gear. These tights I had specially made. had them actually specially made from material, or like loads of flamboyant colours and stuff. AMA pads, they're the best ones. They're also the most expensive ones, which is why only the best wrestlers have them. And loads of stuff like I have every tape, wrist tape, to match the pants. That's particularly mad, this one's. So, gonna be getting back to wear all of that. These here, my uncle got me them when I was about 7, when I just said I wanted to get into wrestling. So, can't remember if I've actually worn them for a match. But to end this is likely going to cut out because there's only 2 minutes left. But gonna go and because I'm here, I'm gonna go down to the Gun Maniac's house. I'm not gonna go in though. Just a second. I've only got 2 minutes left, but as far as the show goes, there's only 1 minute left, but I just thought I'd say, just show you the Gun Maniac's house again, since I do actually live here. Since I haven't lived here for 10 years, so I haven't seen it at night for quite a while, although it might actually cut out. That's the car that we hid behind, my friends and I, and there's actually a car coming down. I must think I'm a right nutter. Yeah, we hid behind a car, and just before we filmed the Gun Maniac thing, we actually were going to try and film these people that we thought were breaking into a car, but they weren't breaking into a car. We were quite scared actually, because we were quite innocent kids. There's the Gun Maniac's house, absolutely classic. Yeah. So innocent kids, in fact, that when we were 14 we tried to get into a pub, tried to fool the bouncers, but it was actually a strip club. We just thought it was a normal pub, and we were laughed out the building. So we could have exaggerated that at school, but decided just to tell the truth and say that we were thrown out. Because as far as wild exaggerations for what happened over the weekend goes, someone else had that covered. He said he was like, when he was 11, he said things like, oh, he just went in and beat up loads of bouncers and stuff, and then stole their car and drove the wrong way at the motorway at 80 miles an hour or some madness. So I think the truth's always funnier. So it looks like I'm out of time here. Thank you for watching, and hopefully next week there will be more of the documentary part of the show. Cheers.